everyone, it's Laura, and today I'm here to talk to you about the audiobook I listened to, Ne'er-Do-Well. So I listened to this in audiobook format because I've heard good things about some of the sequel books in this series. Again, I believe they're all interconnected standalone books, but I like to read or listen to these things in order. So Ne'er-Do-Well was the first in the series, and this one follows Selena and Peter. And Selena is a society debutante whose brother, I believe, is a duke, count or duke. He's someone further up, and apparently their parents died when she was young, and her brother was old enough to take guardianship of her and helped raise her, and she's currently living with him and his wife and their children. Then Peter, he is a new duke. He recently inherited the title from his father, who, if I'm understanding correctly, wasn't expected to get the title of a duke. I believe, if I remember correctly, because obviously, like I said, I listened to this in audiobook format, and sometimes these things are hard to remember without a physical copy to go back and reference. But if I remember correctly, his father was the third son, and so he wasn't expected to inherit the title of duke. But then something happened to his older two brothers, and he did. And so then when he passed away, it went to Peter. And they're English. And his father married Peter's mother, who was a French noblewoman, and she was extremely wealthy. And that's the only reason that Peter's father married her, because their family finances were dwindling. And so there was no real love lost between them, and he was kind of a philanderer and cheated on his wife with multiple different women. And so Peter, he was raised with his mom in Louisiana, so he's American. And so when he unexpectedly inherited this Duke title, he came back to assume his position in society, and so he's kind of an outsider being American, and he has different ways of doing things in society, and he's somewhat of an oddity, and he's prone to create public scandals without meaning to. It's just his thought process is somewhat different than the nobility in England. And at the start of the book, you discover that he has a half-brother and a half-sister, and this is one of the results of his father's philandering ways. Family means a lot to Peter, and so he wants guardianship of his siblings. The downside is that because they were illegitimate, their father, even though there's proof that his father paid for the kids and their upkeep and their housing and all of that, he never officially claimed them. So Peter is having an unexpected hard time in court getting guardianship of them because he's not quote unquote family. So he is trying to do his best to get guardianship, but Peter is very progressive with politics because being a duke, he has a say in politics. I believe, I'm not 100% sure with UK politics because I'm American, but I believe dukes, he has a position in the House of Lords. And so he's able to have some sway, and he has for the time period, the book description says it's a regency. He has very radical ideas, and he's against slavery, and he's very progressive for the time period. And unfortunately, the judge for his court case is very conservative. Kind of seems to have it out for Peter and doesn't think Peter is the best suited to take care of his siblings. And they are also it's a 12-year-old girl, and I want to say an 8-year-old boy. I might have the age a little off, but his brother seems pretty content with him. His sister is definitely a much harder person to win over, but it seems like she just has a hard exterior that he has to overcome. And the only one she's truly close with is her brother, her younger brother at this point. But at a loss of what to do, because he's done everything that his solicitor has said, he ends up inquiring for the help of Selena because he has met her in social situations, and at different gatherings, he's taken note of her and how astute she is at certain social situations. Her friend is sick for overindulging at a party, and she's able to kind of secret her friend out of the room without anyone noticing. And when she takes part in conversations, she gives very thoughtful, intelligent answers. And so the fact that she also was raised partly by her brother, he decides to call upon the brother and Selena to ask for their opinion and to see what steps they think they could take. And Selena's brother offers to put in a good word for Peter with the judge and see if he could do anything, but he also has different politics from the judge, so he doesn't know how much good that will do. But Selena comes up with the brilliant idea that if Peter courts someone and marries a very well-to-do and respectable English woman, that will weigh in his favor during the hearing, and that it will prove that he's stable and that he has kind of a ready-made family unit. Because part of the thing is the judge, you see him question, what's going to happen with the children when Peter is out on business, or is he just going to send them to boarding school, that type of thing. And so having a wife at home would answer a lot of these questions and look better for the court. And so Selena uses her friend's knowledge, because her friend is all up in the gossip of society, and they kind of create a list of people that they would recommend to him. So he ends up trying to court 3 different people, and it kind of is hilarious because one of them is Selena's friend. I wish I could remember her name. But she is basically very intelligent, but she clams up whenever she talks to anyone that isn't a friend or family. So any new acquaintance, she just clams up. So anytime Peter tries to talk with her, he just is kind of like pulling teeth. And then there's another friend that is basically just a bookworm, and she is more than content to just keep her nose in a book. They have a scene in this book where she's at a ball or whatever, and as soon as anyone approaches, she has to be dragged out of the book. And she's very to the point, and when she basically asks why Peter's paying her attention and he just tells her the truth, she appreciates his honesty and gives him leave to continue courting her, but basically tells him that nothing's going to happen unless she actually believes that he starts to have more affection for her. And then the third one is basically someone that Selena put on the list because she felt that they needed to put a third person on the list, but she didn't think Peter would actually like her. I believe her name was Georgiana, and she is basically the vapid airhead of society, where she's very gorgeous and very beautiful, but can't hold an intelligent conversation to save her life. And she's flocked with male attention, and Selena anticipates that Peter will discard her in a few minutes, but she has to give Peter options. Then through the course of the book, Peter gets into a few more newspapers for scandals, and he definitely acts before he thinks, and Selena is kind of frustrated with him, but the more interaction they have, the more that Selena and Peter are drawn to each other. And she is worried though, because her friend that she made the list with, the very intelligent one, they suggested Selena obviously was a good candidate to be put on the list. But the thing is that what no one knows is that Selena basically runs a bookstore. Her twin brother, he enlisted and he's away with the military. But before he left, he bought a bookstore that she is running, and it's kind of like a lending library. And then when one of the other debutantes fell pregnant a few years ago and didn't know how it happened, Selena was basically confronted with her own naivete when it came to what being in a physical relationship is like and what that entails. And so she was adamant that no other lady go through the hardships that the other girl who got pregnant did. And so she is intent on bringing the knowledge to the other debutantes. So there's a secret part of the lending library that only women can become members of. And they're books bound in plain green cloth, and it's called the Venus Collection. And it's basically all this different erotic novels and anything she considers instructional. And that's a very scandalous thing to be involved with at this time period. So she basically accepts the fact that sooner or later her secret's going to get out and it's going to cause scandal. And so she didn't want to put her name on the list because she figured that she wouldn't help Peter at all in his quest to gain guardianship if she's also just as scandalous as him. But they're very drawn towards each other and they can't help get feelings for each other. And I really liked this book a lot, actually. It felt like a Regency rom-com, and I liked the characters. I liked the fact that while Selena was beautiful, what Peter was most drawn to was her wit and intelligence, and that while he ostensibly came to Selena's brother for guidance, he was really there for Selena's guidance on his entire situation. So for that time frame, looking for the guidance of a woman, that is just, Peter's just such a good guy. And I really like him and Selena together, that he kind of puts Selena in some crazy situations, and I really enjoyed this book. And then I was surprised by how prevalent some of the Venus collection thing was with the book, and how it's a romance book, so when Selena and Peter do get together, how it comes into effect her knowledge that she's knowledgeable, but because it's all through books, she still doesn't know a lot of things practically, but she does know certain things that Peter's unaware of. It's a very odd dynamic, but it's very interesting, and I had a great time. So I give this book a 4, and I do look forward to continuing on the series. And I believe the second book is her smart best friend that I can't remember the name of right now. And so I look forward to listening to that when I get a chance. And I thought it was a kind of a hoot. So I think that's all I have to say, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.